you for joining us this morning. From August 2017 through January 2018, the Materials Management Department conducted an extensive review of current operations and opportunities for performance improvements with consultant John Huber. Mr. Huber, author of Lean Library Management and the Purpose-Based Library, uses his background in industrial engineering to help libraries improve their customer service through improved process performance using lean manufacturing principles. Working with Mr. Huber, a cross-functional team, including the Materials Department and representatives from other HQ departments, the leadership team, and branch staff, proposed a comprehensive new service model that was approved by the leadership team in January 2018. As you can see from the service improvement highlights here, new priorities for the Materials Department are to centralize processes best performed at the system level to free up branch staff time, pre-catalog and outsource processing of high-demand items so they appear in the catalog and arrive at branches as quickly as possible, and have materials staff focus on harder-to-place items, enhanced catalog access, and faster response to customer demand. In order to accomplish these tasks, we needed to uncomplicate our collections and improve reports so we can evaluate collection performance more quickly and more fully. The biggest obstacle standing in the way of performance improvements was the sheer number of collection codes we assign in the database. When we first met with our migration consultant before moving our data to Polaris in 2014, the consultant kept asking, "Are you sure you need all these collection codes?" They had never migrated a library with that many distinct collections. How do we get so many collection codes? In most library databases, collection code determines what goes on the spine label, and the spine label determines how items are shelved and retrieved. Because GCPL had always placed an emphasis on curating great browsing collections for enhanced customer self-service, over many years, whenever there were suggestions for additional stickers or different processing on different types of items, a new collection code was created. Continually assigning all these codes at the item level meant we were working against the way the ILS was designed to function, with some negative effects. First, turnaround time for processing materials became less efficient and slower. Polaris reports became cluttered and did not match how items were shelved. And we reduced our ability to automate tasks that the database could be performing for us. One new automation option available in Polaris is load balancing by collection. With this feature turned on, a collection limit is set branch by branch for collections we want to balance automatically. This collection limit tells Polaris the number of items in a collection that your branch wants to have on the shelf. If you are at your branch's collection limit for first chapter books and are checking in another first chapter book, Polaris will check to see which other branch in the system is furthest away from its collection limit for first chapter books. Polaris then automatically puts the item in transit to that branch and alerts you where to send the item. In order for load balancing by collection to work, the collection codes in Polaris must match how items are shelved. In December 2017, a branch shelving survey was sent to all branches to evaluate current shelving practices with a focus on genre fiction in all formats, since those account for a large number of collection codes, and no branches were shelving all the genres as separate collections. The primary findings of the survey were branches shelved paperback and hardcover materials together and wanted to continue that practice. Most branches separate adult fiction into 5 distinct sections on the shelf, rather than the 13 genres we'd been assigning at the item level, and there was a lot of overlap in which genres were typically interfiled together on the shelf. And no branches were shelving teen fiction, large print, or CD books by genre. In January of 2018, the leadership team agreed that in order to optimize collection performance reporting and increase efficiencies in getting materials to customers faster, we should reduce the overall number of collection codes in Polaris to better match current shelving practices. Recommended collection code changes based on branch shelving practices were shared with branch managers for feedback and discussion before the collection changes were sent back to leadership for final approval. There was a lot of discussion about items that would no longer get spine labels matching their genre. For example, all branches interfiled fantasy and science fiction as one collection. But since fantasy is the broader genre term and there were many more fantasy items owned than science fiction items, The collection name for that section of shelving, reflected on the spine label, will be fantasy fiction. Remember, in order to align our collections with the way the ILS is designed to function, we'll be using the collection codes and the spine label to reflect what section a book is shelved in, rather than the genre of the book. This will simplify reports and enable automated load balancing to work for us. GCPL remains committed to providing great browsing collections for enhanced customer self-service, but we now have a new tool that can do this much better than a one-word description on a spine label: BiblioCommons. Even though collection names for shelving are being condensed, collection development librarians are still placing all applicable genres on the catalog record of each title when the title is ordered. Even though suspense items will now receive a collection code and spine label for shelving in the mystery section, they will still get a genre of suspense fiction in the catalog. Customers can still browse these titles by their genre in BiblioCommons using the browsing lists and search or limit materials by genre. Often a single work of fiction contains elements of more than one genre, for example, a historical romance. When this happens, the genres for both historical fiction and for romance or love stories are applied, and the title will appear on both the historical fiction and the romance fiction browse lists in BiblioCommons. This enables fans of both genres to see the crossover titles as items they may enjoy. This also helps readers of historical fiction who don't enjoy reading romance to exclude those titles containing romance elements from their list of contenders when they view the assigned genre headings. In condensing collection codes to match shelving, some of our collections have become multi-format collections. One example of a multi-format collection is the Children's Bilingual Collection. Materials in this collection will receive one of 4 collection codes regardless of format: bilingual easy fiction, bilingual easy nonfiction, bilingual juvenile fiction, or bilingual juvenile nonfiction. In BiblioCommons, customers will still be able to easily distinguish materials by format when searching, browsing lists, and applying limits, as seen in these screenshots. As you've likely already noticed, eliminating separate codes for paperback bindings has greatly streamlined reporting, and will also have the added benefit of moving paperback copies of juvenile first chapter books into the first chapter section for better customer service. As a result of this necessary change, however, customers could no longer identify in BiblioCommons which materials are mass market paperbacks and which are hardcover or trade bindings. Customers have never been able to place item level holds when they have this binding preference, and they will need staff assistance for locating a particular binding and placing item level holds. Staff can still view whether an item is paperback or hardcover and trade in LEAP or in the Polaris staff client by viewing the material type of the item record, and can display or filter item reports by material type in Simply Reports whenever this information is needed. The best part of any makeover show is seeing the before and after photos. Here's a snapshot of active collection codes in Polaris before we started the process of cleaning them up. There were so many they couldn't all fit in one screenshot, and in addition to these active codes, there were more inactive codes that no longer had items applied, but still appeared in every drop-down menu of collections in Polaris and in Simply Reports. Here is the much more attractive and manageable after photo of collection codes as a result of our streamlining process. As a reminder, the new collection structure has been reviewed and updated to make sure customers and staff can still find all the information they need in BiblioCommons, in LEAP and Polaris, and on reports. Materials management has also been updating our ordering and processing functions around the new code structure so we can get materials to customers faster. Here's a before sample of 1 month of circulation figures by collection and by branch. Again, the resulting report is so large and messy that we can't view it on a single page. In addition, the different collections don't match shelving. Trying to wade through this data to make sense of what was physically happening with each of our collections and each of our branches was extremely inefficient. Here's the after photo of the same 1 month of circulation figures across all branches. Now we can see more easily how on-the-shelf collections are performing and react more quickly to collections or locations that may need a closer look. Now that collection changes have been completed, we're beginning setup for turning on Polaris's automated load balancing feature for a test run anticipated in late March or early April. This collections to balance list provides an overview of broad collections better matched to branch shelving that will be load balanced by Polaris automatically. Before load balancing begins, each branch will determine their current shelf allocations for collections, as well as their ideal amount of materials for each collection. A central review of these numbers will be used to set load balancing limits for each collection at each branch in Polaris. The no load balancing list is a sample of sub-collections that will not have Polaris load balancing applied. These materials require more human intervention to achieve the best customer service balance across multiple locations, or are best addressed by other processes. Change always creates a learning curve, which can be difficult for some customers. GCPL takes customer service seriously and does not implement changes unless the overall benefit to customer service outweighs the trade-offs. Be prepared to best help customers adjust to the changes by predicting the questions they may have and the answers to those questions, learning and demonstrating the new and better ways for customers to browse collections, and focusing on the benefits of the change. The end goal is increased customer service. The more comfortable we are with the changes and their benefits, the better equipped we are to assist customers in their transition. Here's a list of the immediate benefits of decluttering our collections. This is the implementation timeline we've been following for the load balancing project, along with additional service model improvements in the materials department. You'll see we are now halfway through this timeline, though some of the related materials department changes in the boxes across the bottom of the plan are still in progress. Next steps for branches with load balancing will be completing paperback first chapter book conversions, evaluating shelf allocations, and determining collection limits for the collections where we will automate load balancing. Let's take a look at some of the other materials department initiatives that the new streamlined reporting and efficiencies will enable.
In order to decrease delivery and turnaround times for new materials and to maximize outsourced processing efficiencies, GCPL is switching our primary print book vendor from Ingram, which is located in Laverne, Tennessee, outside Nashville, to Baker & Taylor, located in Commerce, Georgia, just about an hour up the road from us. This will cut the commute time for delivery of new materials and allow us to develop a closer working relationship for outsourcing and for special projects. There may be some very slight initial delays in pre-publication ordering due to the magnitude of this change and the setup involved. However, once the initial changeover is complete, you will start to see materials in the catalog much sooner as a result of the next initiative we are implementing. One of the primary lean manufacturing principles we focused on during our consulting process is the use of real data to allow customers to pull the materials and services they want from us, rather than trying to anticipate what they will want and then ending up with unused inventory. The goal is for customers to be able to utilize their usual channels and behaviors like holds, requests, and checkouts to show us what they want, and for us to become more agile at analyzing that data to respond to those needs quickly and efficiently. Getting high demand materials into the catalog sooner enables customers to place holds to show us how much demand exists, reduces the need for customers to go through a separate request process for materials we are going to acquire, and allow selectors to use real-time data to determine the quantities and formats that best meet demand and avoid waste. Another way better reporting can help us reduce waste is by identifying a better blend of holdable versus browsing-only initial demand copies of high-demand titles. To achieve this, GCPL is ending its leasing program for Lucky Day titles. Again, because of our streamlined collection codes and better reports, we will be able to more efficiently and effectively analyze changing customer demand on high-interest titles and respond quickly to those changes without the limitations that come along with leasing plans. An added bonus is that weeding of Lucky Day titles as initial demand wanes will now be completed centralized within the materials department. Another key project underway is a complete revamping of the request processes customers and staff use to tell us about materials they need but aren't finding. Placing high-demand titles into the catalog sooner should decrease the need for customers to tell us about many titles they will want to read, because they will find these earlier and place their own hold requests. In addition, our new and improved reporting will allow materials management to centrally identify and address last copies of titles and to centrally identify and address series gaps, so branches will have fewer needs to report these to materials. Coming soon, there will be one request form for handling customer requests, weeding summary requests, and also interlibrary loan requests. New features are customers' ability to request a hold be placed for them and agreeing to receive the item through interlibrary loan if that is necessary. Branches with their branch card will also be able to utilize this form to report system needs. Watch for more information on this initiative as details are finalized. In tandem with all of the process changes to enable our new and improved service model, the materials department has been undergoing a complete physical transformation as well. In order to speed the flow of materials through the department, we have redefined workspaces and purchased new adaptive equipment. Our new setup allows materials to flow logically through workstations set up with equipment best suited to the task at hand, rather than wheeling book trucks back and forth from one cubicle to another. It can take a little time for all the dust to settle after a big move, but feel free to look in on our new environment when you find yourself at headquarters. We appreciate everyone's patience during this time of rapid change and are excited about the improved services for our internal and external customers. Do you still have questions that weren't addressed today? The master list of all the new collection codes is available on the materials management page on Driveway. Practice searching for items in each of the collections in BiblioCommons, LEAP, and Simply Reports. Any unresolved issues with searching or report displays can be submitted as help desk tickets as outlined here. Additional information will be shared very soon as we move into setting collection limits and beginning the Polaris setup for load balancing. And again, as we implement each new service improvement, we have also We have also set up a new question and answer on the materials management page and Driveway for any unresolved questions that arise during implementation. Please post your questions there rather than using suggestion box so everyone can immediately see the answers. And check back frequently for answers and updates. Thank you. This is Michelle Grice from the Materials Management Department. Thank you for joining us.
This is Cheryl Turner, also from Materials Management Department. We appreciate all of your help with our new initiative.